My name is Kalia Kliban. I am a woodturner. You're in my shop in Sebastopol, California. I got started when I was visiting a friend up in Cloverdale. His name is Edwin Ellis, and Edwin's a woodturner and a sculptor. And one day I was hanging around in his shop, and he said, "You want to try it?" And I said, "Okay." And he put a chunk of really nice, deep heart madrone on the lathe and showed me how to make a mallet. And that mallet is right here. This is actually the first thing I ever turned in my life. And it was when I first realized that you could make tools to fit your hand.
Wow.
And you can tell it's gotten a lot of use over the years. Edwin helped me turn a few other things over the years, and I got the bug. And I bought an old beater lathe from Berkeley High School. It was a funky 12 by 36 Delta. I got some beat up tools. This would have been, I want to say, mid-80s. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have mountains of instructional videos. I didn't know any other turners, and I was trying to figure out what I was doing and did it very badly for quite some time. But I kind of struggled along for a while and got a little bit better, and we moved up here. Up here I connected with a local turner named Julian Shaw because I had been trying to figure out how to turn a bowl for the longest time, and I'd been blowing things up and shooting them across the shop. Couldn't figure it out. At his shop, I made my very first bowl, which is a hideous sort of Neanderthal artifact that I will never ever part with. 2006, my first bowl.
Wow.
My 8th bowl, I was pretty happy with. And they've been improving since then. In 2012, I joined Sebastopol Gallery because I had gotten tired of working as a furniture maker and carrying toolboxes up and down people's stairs and moving sheets of plywood, and I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. At that time, I was also starting to work much more as a dance caller, so I was traveling all over the country, calling for dance camps and festivals, and working a regular 9-to-5 job was getting increasingly difficult. So it worked out very well to be able to do this when I was home and to be able to be on the road with the dance calling. This is a batch that I just turned a couple of days ago. This is mulberry wood, and this came actually from my next door neighbors. They just took out a big mulberry tree that was dropping crap all over their deck. My gain.
So I just touched it, they're wet.
Yes. This is greenwood. This came down about 3 weeks ago, and greenwood is full of water. So this is very heavy. So right now, in addition to the water that the wood is full of, you can probably see some white streaking on here. I've coated this with a liquid wax emulsion called Anchor Seal. And it doesn't completely seal the wood, but it slows down the wood loss from the surface and minimizes, though it does not sadly eliminate, cracking. Because as the surface dries and shrinks, the inside's still fat and full of water, pop. So I'm going to let these sit until the surface has dried off, and then they go on to, I'm going to have to figure out which shelf because I am just about maxed out. So right now you can see that these are very regular, very flat across the top, completely round. This is how they come off the lathe. And I mostly do this process. This is called rough turning. These are from the same tree, turned a couple of weeks ago, and you can see they're already starting to get a little bit lumpy on the rim, and they'll go a little bit oval as well. So once these bowls have had a chance to dry, and that can take anywhere from 6 months to 2, 3, maybe even more years, depending on how dense the wood is. Once they're dry, then I put them back on the lathe, and I can turn a finished bowl that will stay round. If I turn it all the way down to the finished size right now, it'll look great for about 20 minutes, and then it's going to go all potato chippy on me. I had some ironbark eucalyptus from the same neighbors, actually, that was still moving 7 years after I had put it on the shelf.
How do you decide whether it's a 2-month piece of wood or a 2-year piece of wood?
Long experience. A lot of it has to do with relative weight for size, and you get a feel after a while for how heavy a bowl should be for a given species. This is ash, pretty stable. It's got a little bit of a peak here. Ash tends to be nice and stable, but this has a ways to go. Just a matter of feel.
So where do you get your wood? Does it just come to you? Do you have to keep it out, or are you still looking for it?
I listen for chainsaws, actually. If I wake up in the morning and I hear chainsaws, I go for a little drive and I try and find who's taken down a tree. Is it something yummy? I always have business cards with me. I talk to the tree crews. Usually they want to get the wood into the hands of somebody who's going to use it for something other than biofuel or firewood. And I am happy to oblige. And also, they tend to be really strong and they're willing to load things into my truck so I don't have to kill my back. Folks at the gallery will let me know if they have a friend or a neighbor who's taking down a tree, sometimes even customers at the gallery who are always curious where the wood comes from. And in a pinch, if I'm looking for something, I can put the word out to my turning club, the Wine Country Woodturners.
Okay.
And we always share information about trees that are coming down. In fact, this Bradford pear here came from one of our turning members just the day that I came over to visit you at the shop.
Do you have anything finished here?
If you want to, we could take a little run down to the gallery, which is downtown Sebastopol. So earlier, when I was talking about the hair sticks, this is a set of them that I made earlier this year just for fun. And most of the hair sticks that I make are separate, sort of a bead and button design. Now that's plum wood, which is just
Wow, look at that.
stuff to work with.
So many colours in there.
And these are all functional bowls. You can throw them in the wash. You can have hot foods, cold
What do you
foods.
mean by throw them in the wash? Not in the washing machine.
Hot soapy sink. If you can put it in your mouth, you can put it in one of these bowls. And if you can put yourself there, you can put one of these bowls there. So no microwave, no dishwasher.
Oh, okay.
But a nice hot bubble bath is just fine. I do a lot with multiple colors. So this is ginkgo, and it's a light textured wood, fairly crisp. So this has a layer of green, and then it's top coated with blue. And I just buff it back a little bit so you start to see a bit of the green coming through. And it's kind of nice to leave a bit of the wood showing as well.
Right.
This past year, everybody's been drinking more. Everybody needs a good quality cocktail muddler. These are actually made from firewood. So this is little bits of mulberry. And where these come from, if you look at this bowl, you can see that the center of the tree was right about here.
Right.
So the tree grew in this orientation. But the pith, that little bit that's right in the very center of the tree, that's where cracks tend to radiate from. So you always need to take a little slice out of the center of the tree. So you've got, your two bowls, and then this inconvenient slice.
Okay.
But it's beautiful vertical grain stuff because it's right out of that center. And I've just been stashing those, and it turns out they're just the bomb for utensils.
Oh God, yeah. And then
So-
your cortisone and perfect.
Yeah. So these, I don't do a lot of boxes, but every now and then I can't resist. And I had gotten a big chunk of camphor wood from, again, somebody in the club, and I cored it out. So there's a big bowl, it's about that big around, and this was the little section from the inside.
Oh, okay.
And then I had some little scraps of ebony in the shop.
It's a fairly large scrap.
And this little guy, this is another one of my favorite woods. This is olive. Sebastopol Gallery is a local artist co-op, artist owned and operated, and it's all folks who live here in Sonoma County. And some of us only show here, so you'll find things in Sebastopol Gallery that you won't see anywhere else. And nice bunch of folks and some beautiful artwork.
Great.